So with that, let's move on to a blockchain. So a blockchain is kind of what it sounds like. It's a chain of blocks. And what is in one single block is data. So all the blockchain together make up a database. And we call it a decentralized database because it's not held at a company. It's not held by a government. It is held over the whole network. The blockchain is encrypted and nearly impossible to hack. I'm never going to say never because the Titanic was unsinkable until it sunk. So as far as we know, it's very difficult to hack the blockchain. The amount of blocks on the chain is infinite. New data is added onto the blockchain, and the whole blockchain together comprises the whole database. So a single block, in the case of cryptocurrency, one block will contain lots of different transactions. This is all probably new to you. It was to me. It's hard to wrap your head around. There's lots of videos on the blockchain. Check them out. But I'll run through an example really quick to try to solidify everything, and then we'll move on. So we're going to take the case of a cryptocurrency. So let's just say Bitcoin. What happens is you're going to request a transaction having to do with Bitcoin. So maybe you already have some Bitcoin and you're just going to transfer it from where you bought it to your wallet where you're going to store it. So what happens is you make a request. So you'll send that information, that request, to the peer group, the network. And it is all of those computers who are going to look at your transaction, and they're all going to start to process it. And we call those people, or the different computers processing your request, we call them miners, which I'll explain why they're called miners in a second. From this perspective that we're looking at it, it doesn't make sense that they're called miners. But these miners, essentially what they are people who have invested in specific computers who they just run all day processing all these requests. So those miners are going to work on your transaction and they're going to validate it. And in the case of Bitcoin, over 50% of the network have to confirm your transfer or whatever request you've made. Once they've verified it, then your transaction is added into a block of other people's transactions. So they combine a bunch of these transactions into a block, which is now a record of everything that's taken place at that time, and then they add it to the blockchain in such a way that it's permanent and unalterable. So once it's on the blockchain, it's permanent. Your transaction has been done, and then they send you a confirmation. So from your side, you'll see this when we start trading, but like if I'm moving Bitcoin from where I bought it to my wallet where I'm going to store it, you send the transaction, and then there's this weird amount of time that passes because it pulls it out of your account, but it doesn't end up in your wallet for maybe 30 minutes, sometimes an hour, sometimes 3 hours, and you're going to get nervous during that time. But what's happening during that time is what I'm just explaining with the blockchain. It's going to go through and process it and then add it into the blockchain. The blockchain is also significant, not just for cryptocurrencies. This is considered a new disruptive technology, and they liken it to the internet in scale, in that there are lots of applications you can do with the blockchain. We won't go into that. You can watch other videos, but just know it is an upcoming technology that will probably be part of our daily lives in the future. Another thing we could talk about real quick are the miners. So I talked about the miners, how they go in and they're processing your requests. So what motivates the miners to do the work is, this is also how Bitcoins are created. I told you Bitcoins aren't created by a bank or a central agency. Bitcoins are created by the program when it was first launched, and as it's continuing through time, the programming dictates how many coins will be created. And these coins are created when miners, they have to do arithmetic puzzles to solve a block. So when a block is created and added to the chain, the first miner to solve the puzzle to open that block, they get rewarded with Bitcoins. I think right now they get rewarded with 12 Bitcoins, and about every 4 years it halves. each cryptocurrency has a max amount of coins it will create. So for Bitcoin, there is only ever going to be 21 million Bitcoins. So that's why they're called miners. From their perspective, they're mining.